you so much, sir, for enlightening the topic. I request the chairpersons to collect the mementos from outside near the selfie point. The next session is a panel discussion about delivery room interventions to improve neonatal outcome. I request the chairpersons of the session to come upon the podium. Dr. Amit Kaur, Senior Consultant and Head of Department of Neonatology, Apollo Cradle, Moti Nagar, New Delhi. Dr. Mangala Bharti, Consultant Neonatologist. Dr. Deepika Rastogi and Dr. Anuj Bhati, Associate Professor, Neonatology, Gown Medical College, Jammu. I request the chairpersons to introduce the speaker, Dr. Ashish Mehta. Dr. Ashish Mehta, please come upon the podium, sir.
Good morning, sir. I have a pleasant duty of introducing Dr. Ashish Mehta. Sir is training from Australia. He's a very senior neonatologist from Ahmedabad. He's running a very big neonatal setup and contributing significantly in promotion of neonatal care, Gujarat and in India. So over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. At the onset, I will thank the organizer for this lovely opportunity, particularly Dr. Ravi Sachin, Dr. Shaukat and Dr. Mustaq for allowing me to be here. I am very happy to say that I have got distinguished and esteemed faculty for this panel discussion, Dr. Mangala Bharti, Dr. Amit Kaur and Dr. Deepika. May I have the CV just to introduce them? CV for the introduction. Dr. Mangala Bharti is. Can I have the slides for that? Can I have the slides? Yeah, that's fine. I would like to introduce Dr. Mangala Bharti. He is a professor of neonatology at Government Medical College at Chennai, and he is heading the department of neonatology, having 8 DM6 per year. That's doing well as far as academic training of the young neonatologists is concerned in the country. Dr. Deepika, I'm sorry, but I don't have. Can you please introduce yourself, please? Yeah, but you can go ahead with your introduction, please.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. I would like to thank the team and congratulate the entire team for such a wonderful academic session. Myself, Dr. Deepika Rastogi. I've done my MD from Nancy, and then I trained in neonatal perinatal medicine from Canada. Currently, I'm working as a senior consultant.
Who's next?
In the Department of Neonatology at Yashoda Hospital, Kaushambi, Ghaziabad. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
May I request Dr. Anuj Kaur for the introduction, please?
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be in the paradise of our country. Thank you, organizers, for inviting us for this great academic feast. I'm Dr. Avneet, and I have done my MBBS MD from Manipal Hospital and followed by my super specialization in neonatology from Sir Gangaram Hospital. And it's wonderful to be sitting in front of my mentor, Dr. Neelam Claire. So thank you for inviting us, and thank you, sir.
Yeah, just to let you know that since morning we're discussing about the baby and mother care as a total, and we have a lot of discussion about the care of these babies during peri-viable period, in the delivery room, out of the delivery room. And my panel is also going to talk about the care of a baby in delivery room. So there is going to be some repetition, but I'll make sure that I've got some different flavor to further you in this discussion. So let's go to the business first. This is about a 32-year-old primate Javira Ford and 3 abortions. She's carrying 28 weeks of pregnancy. She just get into the preterm labor pain, and there is some doubtful leaking. And obviously the first thing being by the MO and his colleague obstetrician is running to the labor room to counsel the parents and all that. And meanwhile on the way, she is calling Dr. Deepika that how would you like to go about this particular pregnancy, and she is going to she want Deepika to talk to the parents. So what is going to be a priority? You are sitting somewhere about 100 kilometers away from this place, Srinagar, where it is not going to be easy to deliver that baby. So what is running to your mind when you are calling for the consultation of this kind of counseling of this kind of pregnancy?
Thank you very much, sir. That's a wonderful and a very, very imperative question, I would say. We always tell our obstetric counterparts that it is good to involve us as early as possible, antenatally during the management of a high-risk pregnancy like this, where this is a precious pregnancy with previous multiple abortions. We are not sure of the reasons. Maybe there was some cervical incompetence where that's why the mother has had previous abortions and she's ended up in preterm labor. So it is very important to work as a team with the obstetric team involving a multidisciplinary approach, and the parents should always be a part of this team because, like we've discussed previously, Dr. Sush has also mentioned that it is a shared decision. So the management, our role as a neonatologist starts right away, even before the birth of the baby. As we can see that there are multiple risk factors in this pregnancy. The mother has gone into preterm labor. There is some premature rupture of membranes. So there are risk factors for early onset sepsis. If this delivery is imperative and impending in the next 24 hours, so we should take all measures to provide neurodevelopmentally supportive care or neuroprotection to the fetus, to the upcoming newborn. The counseling should involve everything, right away from the outcomes, the delivery room management, the short-term outcomes, the long-term outcomes, the duration of the NICU stay, and also the financial implications. My approach is usually I don't overwhelm the parents with too much of information. Usually I like to know the background, what they have, if they have any experience with preterm births from their family, from their relatives, and what do they know about preterm births. Before going to the parents, it is usually good to talk to your obstetric team and make a plan ahead for this mother, for this family as a team. So there's a lot of evidence now. We know there are interventions as the neonatal practices have improved, the mortality rates have gone down. The approach is always towards better outcomes, the short-term outcomes as well as long-term outcomes. So antenatal corticosteroids is one of the very, very imperative and old strategy that has been used. We know that antenatal corticosteroids not just reduce the risk of respiratory distress, but they also decrease the overall mortality. There is enough evidence based upon systematic reviews that it decreases the risk of IVH, also decreases NEC and the need for surfactant therapy. We've had previous discussions, I think in the morning sessions, that a single course of antenatal corticosteroids and dexamethasone is the preferred one in our country because we don't have the advised betamethasone available in our nation. Yes, sir, absolutely. Because it's a 28-weeker, so magnesium sulfate should be considered as well antenatally for neuroprotection. And a very important question that usually the obstetricians ask is, what is the best time to start magnesium sulfate? Because there is no role for repetition of magnesium sulfate dose. It should only be used if you feel that the delivery is impending in the next 24 hours. There are various regimens used for magnesium sulfate. The most common one is a loading dose of 4 grams followed by 1 gram per hour for 24 hours.
And is there any cut-off age before which you are going to offer max or you will go for all preterm babies?
Yes, sir. Most of the guidelines, including SOGC, mention that magnesium sulfate should be offered antenatally to less than 32 weeks gestation. Some of them do also say 30 weeks, but most of the guidelines follow less than 32 weeks of gestation. And there is enough evidence to say that it decreases significantly the risk of motor deficits, that's cerebral palsy, in preterm labor.
Yeah. Analysis of all different trials which has been published long back somewhere 2009, almost 12 years ago. But But surprisingly, still it's not been well accepted like what we do with the corticosteroid in current era. So we need to practice that any baby, any preterm baby happening below 32 weeks, like steroids, makes them to be on. And we need to motivate the obstetrician for the same. Why so? Because cerebral palsy is something which is related to complication of any preterm delivery, and we know that what happens to the families where the babies are suffering with cerebral palsy. To prevent it, this is one of the major intervention. You can see this diamond for one. That means the intervention is quite significant. So magnesium makes a 4 gram loading or 30 minutes loading intravenously, not like IM which is being offered preeclampsia. This intravenous dose 4 gram IV for 30 minutes, followed by 1 gram per hour till the baby is delivered. That is how it is to be. It can be repeated. Like if she stops laboring, then we can stop it, and next time she is coming there, it is to be repeated. So that's about the when there's major intervention, but it will keep in the mind. What about Dr. Amit? Like you are practicing daily and you might be seeing so many referrals. Like if she is laboring something in near maybe 18 to 20 months away and she is just 26 weeks, what would be your approach as far as the initial care of the mother and the baby is concerned?
So as we know that
from the medication that we discussed.
So obviously in addition to the readiness, what we want so that the patient when delivers we are having better outcomes. So whatever interventions Dr. Deepika, in addition we'd prefer that if we can have in utero transfer of this mother to a tertiary center, because it has been found that when the babies deliver at a tertiary center and they're transported in utero, the chances of intraventricular hemorrhage, there are better chances of neurodevelopmental outcomes, lesser chances of IVH and chronic lung diseases, and lesser chances of death and other morbidities. So if we have the time and if we have facilities for the in utero transfer of this mother, we definitely are liable to have better outcomes for these babies in form of all these outcomes which I have described.
So like we have got two kind of centers, a non-specialized center, specialized center. And you can see the difference in the numbers. It is given in the figures and name, but the percentages are differently less when even smaller babies are delivered at specialized center. That is one. And you can see the difference in the morbidities like IVH, dreaded morbidities, BPDs and IVH and ROPs and NEC. All are less when you are referring to special. One is in utero transplant, one is you need to know where this is to be referred. Need to be a specialized center where good number of deliveries are happening, where level of care is totally different. You can see at the level of ICUs and number of deliveries. More the number of deliveries, lesser is the problem. More the BCL unit or the more higher the rank in the unit, obviously the outcome is going to be much better because they are doing it day in, day out. And that's why one need to have in utero transport number one, and number two would be one need to understand where it is to be sent. So what is about what Dr. Mangla, like we know that hypoxia and hypothermia are the biggest problems even in current era 2023 in care. What care can you offer to this kind of piece?
So we all know the importance of maintaining normothermia in neonatal population. More so when we talk about these small premature babies. But unlike normal babies, preterm babies, especially 28 weeks, will require specialized support systems to maintain temperature. So the one which is commonly recommended is because they have a particularly very high loss which happens through evaporation. So we can use a polythene wrap, so which can wear the baby once the baby is delivered. Immediately the baby can be inserted into that polythene wrap and baby is covered. So that decreases the insensible water loss a lot and maintains the temperature. This is in addition to the existing warming system which is going to be a radiant warmer. So we can place the baby under a radiant warmer, but we don't, once we receive the baby, we don't go for drying and all. We just put the baby into this polythene wrap which is readily available, then keep the baby under a warmer. If people do have, there are some alternate systems like exothermic thermal mattresses, which I partly found to be available, especially in our settings. So for our setting, monitoring the temperature, use of polythene wrap, and again the routine radiant warmer. But with just a word of caution, it has been found that even hyperthermia is also dangerous for these babies. So we need to maintain normothermia, but we should not run into the risk of hyperthermia in these.
So do you suggest any particular brand of polythene bag or any commercial polythene bag will do?
Yes, there are some commercial options available to us, which I'll say are more comfortable because they have been designed exclusively, but they are a bit expensive. I won't say that you need to spend that much amount of money. Any good food grade polythene bag, which is sealable at one end. So that's the food grade what we buy in our grocery stores. We are using only food grade. All that we do is that we just do ETO, buy in bulk from the stationery store, do an ETO sterilization and use it in our daily.
And what about for all preterm babies are going to offer, or you're going to?
Yes, so anybody, as weight is an easier criteria, anybody who is weighing less than 1,500 grams. But if you go by gestation, anyone who is less than 32 weeks gestation will recommend this use of polythene.
And what will happen to the airway and fixing the oxygen probe or offering any air support or breathing support when baby is wrapped like this?
Yes. So again, as I said already, the commercially available products are taking care of this issue. They have small places where it can be opened easily whenever you want to insert an IV line or want to put some respiratory support and all. But even for the routine food grade polythene, what we can do is that we just actually cut open one end, because so both ends become open and one end is a sealable end. So the head end we always keep it open so that it becomes easily accessible. We insert the baby and just close the foot end where there is a seal, and we can keep the head end open to which becomes easily available and accessible. For if there is a necessity to place an IV line and all, we make cut opens only into the pancreas.
So baby remains in the glass polythene wrap, and for the airway or IV access, the part is cut open and the managed there. Ultimately, to make sure that baby stays warm during resuscitation and during transfer to the NICU. This is the most important part of the whole management. Now, a lot been said about the cord clamping, and this has been discussed this morning, and I know the audience knows about that. But what would be your final word? Just 5 messages on the cord cutting. And why do you want to do that?
Yes, sir.
Because that is not been discussed. Why do you want to do that?
Yes, sir. So, as I said, I won't go into the details. We all know the importance of delaying clamping of the umbilical cord.